friend, this is Mr. Roland in the world of toys. And today I have a very special guest, the masters of stop motion, a great artist, the one of the only, Alex Kropinak. Sorry for the pronunciation, my friend.
No,
What is the
thank you.
perfect pronunciation for your name? Kropinak or Kropinak?
Kropinak.
Kropinak. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you for having me on.
thank you so much to be on the show because in my I try to be to create some stop motion. And you are to me a master. You create some things, some stuff that I saw
Thank
in
you.
these days, but also earlier for this interview because you are awesome. Because your stop motion looks like some a little short movie, also very cool. Everything and. Later, guys, in this interview, we will see together some stop motion of Alex, and maybe so if you have some question, and maybe some question, I will have to some details because you made something that to me looks like impossible, and therefore I'm so curious to asking you some about that. However, the first question is, how start your partnership with Mezco Toys?
Um, well, it when I got in touch with Mez, the CEO and president of Mezco, he already was aware of my work, my stuff that I did with Marvel, Marvel.com, and it was something that he wanted to do was to kind of create some original animated content using the Mezco products. So my name was recommended to him, and he checked out my stuff, reached out to me. And of course I was like already familiar with the Mezco products. So I, was very excited to do something. So we talked for a little bit. He had all these ideas already, which are so cool to hear. And the first project I did was the Agent Gomez, like this character here. If you're familiar with this guy.
Yeah, yes. Oh, yes, yes.
So it was pretty ambitious first video. It was like over 2 minutes long. Was a ton of fun to put together, and it was a little bit new experience for me working with a different type of toy. Like if you're familiar with if you like have a Mezco toy, the articulation is just like out of this world, and I never really worked with figures too much with the soft goods too, the real fabric clothes, which was cool to experiment and work with for the first time. So that first project went really well. And I did one more, the Street Gomez, where he's like on a hoverboard and zipping around a city. One more project for Mez on a freelance basis. And then, the working relationship was so well, he offered a full-time job. So after a while, I hopped on, Mezco officially, and it's been about a year and a half with them now. So.
Cool. And for example, for this stop motion show that you created for them with about 2 minutes, how many times of shooting behind the scene for a video like that? What is the behind the scene, the time to create a short movie like that, animation?
Well, it's a little different for every project. If I'm talking about actual working hours, I can only guess. I think it took several months to do that first one because I was, like I said, working on it on a freelance basis and kind of jumping around on a few other projects at the same time. It might have taken, I want to say, like 4 or 5 months. That might be a conservative estimate. I think I might have taken longer than that. Yeah, so it took a good chunk of time. I'd say on average a 2-minute video, not counting the entire span of days and weeks, but it's hundreds of hours. And so every frame, I shoot in 24 frames per second. So 2 minutes, that's 2 minutes of 24 frames per second, thousands of photographs, and that's not counting the visual effects and all the pre-production that goes into it beforehand, and the storyboarding and sound design. which I also do. And it's I've tried to keep track, just for my own, like, so when a question like this comes up, and I don't just have a weird answer, but yeah, it's long time.
And how start your passion for stop motion? You remember how start inside of you this type of passion, and they become later your job also?
Yeah. I mean, my parents had a VHS camcorder when I was younger, which they let me play around with my Star Wars toys, and so I kind of started way back when, but not just for fun, obviously. And um, going through school, I stayed interested in toys and cartoons and animation, and Nightmare Before Christmas came out, which was really sparked my interest in specifically like how these type of animations were made. So I got like the making of book and studied that, and I started to get really interested in that, but not ever thinking that it would be my job. Just I was interested in it. So I all the way up until college, I was an art major, studied video production, and started to maybe think around college time that I could do this professionally, but really had no ideas of where that would be. I just liked doing it, as a hobby, and went from there into my career with right out of college. I got hired at Wizard Magazine and Toy Fair Magazine. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
Yes, yes. Also, Zach Ott working.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, I forgot you interviewed Zach. So I worked with Zach, and I was an intern for a while, and got hired on to do more video production stuff that they wanted to do. And I also got to animate that. We were talking before about the Optimus Prime, the Transformers animation that I worked with Zach and a lot of the other Toy Fair guys, as a like animated adaptation of an existing strip that was in the magazine. So that's the kind of stuff I did there. And then from there, got hired at Marvel Entertainment, and worked in their video department, doing a ton of stuff, like interviews, live interviews of any kind of video production stuff. But they were aware of my like stop motion work, so we got a team together and started a web series called Marvel What The, which I ended up doing for animating on with the whole team for a number of years. So that's the 25 or so year introduction to it long it took me to get to start at animation on a professional level.
Okay, I want to, because we have many videos by Alex to show together. I want to start with one of them and talk together about them. And now I go. Maybe we can choose this one. Now, a few seconds, because it needs to share, because there is an option to, because I open many I don't know the English word for that. When you in your browser open another window, maybe looks like that.
Oh, tab.
And I choose this one. We start with this one. The garbage Pail Kids in Medlike.
Sure, that's.
And later during maybe I can. It's possible. I believe a better view like that. Yes. It's bigger now, yes. Okay. And we go with this one, and later we talks about that together. About some behind the scenes, some secret behind the scene, maybe. There we go.
Well, that sucks. Welcome to the atom bomb apocalypse. In this distant future, life is a constant battle for survival in a zombie-ridden, mutant-infested, booger-encrusted wasteland. For the remaining scavengers left behind, there is only one commodity that is prized above everything else. Garbage. Jackpot. Now that's what I call a payload.
Oh, you are in big trouble now, honey.
No, loincloth. Drop the poopy diaper. You're on our turf now.
Yeah, we own the garbage in this town. Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah. Really, dude? That's all you got? Blah. Ignore him. Now hand over that soiled diaper and no one gets hurt.
No one except you.
Whee! I'm so gonna eat your face. Hands up! Whoa!
He's getting away. False alarm. Let's roll.
After him! Blah, blah, blah.
Okay, very cool. Maybe my internet connection is not the better in the world. Sometimes was lagging a little bit during the video. Therefore, sorry for that. But
No worries.
maybe also in Italy we have maybe the baddest internet connection in the world, I believe. However, speaking of how start this movie, this little movie.
Well, it was after a long relationship I had with Topps Trading Cards, which started actually through a colleague at Marvel who went on moved over to Topps and got knew of my work, and we worked on a video together about Mars Attacks. There was a Kickstarter for a new trading set for the Mars Attacks Martians property, and got in touch with Ira at Topps. Is in charge of all brands like Mars Attacks and Garbage Pail Kids, which after a while he had the idea to do some kind of more animation for Garbage Pail Kids property. So at that time, I had actually formed an actual production company, my own production company with two of my very talented and creative friends, Matt and Jordan, called Jamroll Studios, and we collaboratively like got together with Ira and artist Joe Simcoe, was one of the main artists for the current GPK cards, and not just cards, but he does everything. So it's been a lot of fun. We did a few animated shorts that were a little shorter than the one we just saw, which were ton of fun. Working like, I don't know if you're familiar with the Garbage Pail Kids kind of 80s property, which it's still around and just like gross fun, just like boogers and farts and all that stuff. Just like cool to animate a lot of tactile stuff, which I didn't really get a chance to do too much, with like slime and all kinds of gunk, and it's a lot of fun just for that reason alone. But that one we just saw actually was kind of really a step up level from the stuff we were doing before, because we got involved with the creator of the show, The Goldbergs on ABC. If I don't know if you watch that at all, it's still on. Adam Goldberg, the creator of that show, is actually a huge Garbage Pail Kids fan, and he wrote a three-part big long epic kind of Mad Max Road Warrior parody using the Garbage Pail Kids whole characters, and so that first spot we just saw was actually put on hold a little bit because of the pandemic last year. So it was kind of scattered production, but there are 2 parts still to come, continuing the story at a later time. And then I have to talk about the cast, because Adam Goldberg got all his friends to do some pretty cool voices, including the Mad Mike. I have him right here, actually. This is the... Whoop.
Oh, cool! So cool.
Puppet, yeah.
And you use these figures during your stop motion.
Yeah, there's the actual puppet from the animation, voiced by Christian Slater. It's very cool. So this
the eyes are wide because
Yep.
you need to change the expression of the eyes during the animation.
Exactly. Yeah, the head is an interesting story. This is based on a line of toys, the Funko Mystery Minis, like Funko Pops, but a different style than the usual Pop figures. So they produced a line of toys like this. So this is based on that, but it's not the actual Funko Mystery Mini head, because that was sculpted in kind of this extreme expression of like, angry eyes and just like huge mouth screaming, which if I was to animate that, unless he's constantly screaming, it would be frame by frame Photoshop manipulation to make him look, a little more neutral expression like this. So Ira Tufts got in touch with this amazing 3D sculptor, Paul Gabori, who custom made this head, printed it out in resin, and sent it to me. I painted it this way, kept the eyes white like that, and then the pupils that you see in the animation are post-production, just digitally added. Yeah.
In the post-production, you create the expression for the eyes.
Oh, sorry?
Or in the post-production, you created the variation of the eyes.
Exactly. Yeah. So
and how is the process to create that? Also for the facial expression, for example.
Yeah.
How work this part, because it's difficult to manage.
Yeah, that's kind of that. The facial expression and the eye in the movement and everything. That's kind of what I'm most proud of in my work. I feel like it separates me from a lot of other toy animators. It's so time consuming and arduous and so labor intensive, but I think it pays off in the end. And I really love making giving the toys not just the bodily animation, but the facial expression makes them feel just so much more alive and energetic. And like I love acting through the toy characters. It's just very fun for
and
me.
What is the process? For example, you to create the facial expression, you created you made this later in the post production after the shooting.
Exactly. Yeah. I really don't. I don't do a lot of in camera facial expression as you would kind of would see in like Robot Chicken. They have the paper mouths and the eyebrows, and that's all like in camera. Like they're shooting the faces changing actually in front of the camera on set. I just shoot like to use this character again. I would shoot all his actions just like this, and his face would look like this in the raw photographs. So as part of the visual effects stage in post production, I would have the eyes obviously a different layer, and they might have to be. Sometimes I have to change them several times throughout a single video because the lighting is different or the angle of the head is different. I can't really. It would look a little bit awkward if I had the same kind of eye shape for everything. So that adds some more time. And then the mouth movements actually. The way I do it, it's just the way I've always done it. I'm sure there's maybe an easier way, but I will lay out all the raw photographs that I animated to the audio track. So if someone's talking, there's a line of someone talking, I'll look at the photographs and I'll scrub through like frame by frame so I can hear just one frame's worth of audio, and I can isolate that photograph and say, okay, this is photograph 1082. And I write that down. I say, okay, and it's saying like an E shape. Okay, that's got to be an E mouth. I'm going to draw, and I have like little symbols for what each mouth looks like. I just have notebooks and notebooks full of like stuff like that. So then I go back into Photoshop and frame by frame, one by one, I say, okay, what were my notes? Okay, this image needs to have this shape, and then I Photoshop it as best I can. So it's fun to see the difference in different characters. Like for the Marvel What the stuff, if I was animating like the Hulk, it was great because his toys are always like he's like, and his teeth are already sculpted in there. I don't have to draw and paint in the teeth. I could just clone stamp that around. And I remember one of the hardest characters to do with the mouth movements was Howard the Duck, because he has I've never really animated a duck's bill before, and I tried to do it one time practically with different cutout pieces of his bill, like the Toy Biz Howard the Duck figure. I animated for an episode, and I like with an X-Acto knife tried to chisel out the bottom parts of his bill, and with clay trying to make it like it was just not working. It didn't look good. So actually, I think come to think of it, the other video I sent you, we just as a reference, has Howard the Duck in it, which I did completely Photoshop in post-production. I think it looked a lot better, but it was a lot harder.
Cool. And what is your reaction, your feelings when you see finally the final video of your animation work? When finally you see the movie that you created, what is your feelings and your reaction in general?
That's like the best part of the job for me. It's kind of hard to describe, but like it's just having it done. Just that alone is like, okay, I don't have to. When you get that message that everything's fully approved, it's just the best. And then even better than that is like seeing the audience and anyone who sees it like say anything positive about it. It means the world to me. And I'm a big, I love constructive criticism. I'm like, they always say, don't look at the comments. Like I can't not look at the comments. I always want to see what people are thinking, good or bad, about my work. And I can't if someone says something like that, a lot of time I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point. That makes sense. I will do that. And in my next work, and it's helpful.
Cool. I want to show you now another of your video, and this is a part of we talked about that before the stream about our mutual passion for a big franchise and also movie. I'm talking about the Ghostbusters. I want to share this one now.
Cool.
because it's so cool. Okay. Yes, there it is. There we go. Awesome. You did also some stop motion also for with Vigo and Ghostbusters 2, something like that also.
Yeah, that was like a bucket list project. I Ghostbusters is probably like my top 3 favorite movies of all time, and I um, I don't think I've ever animated them, even with my own figures. So that was the first time doing a real like Ghostbusters animated project, and I did that with Zach Oat at Diamond Select. I did a ton of awesome projects with him, with like a bunch of other like awesome properties like Back to the Future, and I think they're
Awesome.
so much fun.
And the scene when Gozer jump, and goes
Yeah.
on the back of the Ghostbuster. Oh, you create this one in stop motion or in the post production, especially the time when it was on air.
So that part was a mix. It's a lot. That was very visual effects heavy. So a lot of green screen when she's flipping in the air, for sure. And then, if I'm remembering right, there's like 3 shots. She leaps up from the pedestal. If I'm remembering correctly, it was a few years ago, but I had like some kind of a wire rig to lift her up in that shot. And then when she's flipping in the air, that was probably completely green screen. No set around her at all for that. And then when she drops down, you only see her feet down. That was another wire rig that slowly lowered her down onto the the pedestal set. So it was, yeah, that was just so much fun. Kind of a recreation shot by shot of that scene, but a little more, edited a little differently. But those great moments I got to recreate. It was just a lot of fun.
And how you create this to recreate a movie scene like this one? How is the process to work? You watch in the same time on the screen, other screen, the scene of the movie to recreate in your set. What is the process to create something like that?
It's like every project's different. So sometimes I just watch like a movie just for reference, and then just to get the feel and like the tone of a project that's either based off it or similar to it. But for this one, I actually had clips of the movie in my rough edit to begin with before I did any animation. So I was very closely looking at frame by frame, like the original scenes and shots moments from that scene. Yeah.
Very cool. I have a message for the fans that are watching now. Guys, continue to put your question in the live chat because later Alex give you the answer for every your question because he saw some question, and later is possible to have a conversation also with the fans. However, therefore, when you when start a project like this one, for example, you schedule everything. You schedule what which part will be in the post production, which before? What is the process to decide which part will be in the visual effect and which part you will be in the stop motion animation?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my basic process for any project that I'm doing is getting a script or a written outline of some sort. Just, what is it? Who's in it? Where is it? What's involved? And then from there, usually we jump to storyboarding, and then gathering assets. Like if it's the amount of visual effects, and I do try to do everything as practical as possible. But some projects, like if you're in the middle of the ocean, it's it's just easier to do a lot of visual effects and a lot of green screen. And if you're like down in Nosferatu's tomb, then it's a ton of fun to build that practical set and just do everything practically and that. So it's different from every project, but yeah, it really depends on the original script, the setting, if it's just for example in space or something, and I'd probably just use a green screen on a set and put some space background on that. So that's pretty clear from the start.
Okay.
And then so storyboard, and then from the storyboard start to lay down the audio track and put pieces of the storyboard in for a rough edit. And then by that point, I'm pretty sure, like if I know which shots are, what actions involved. If a character is jumping, I'm probably going to need to use a metal rig. So that's a visual effect technically to paint that out and make it look like they're in midair. And then all the way up to like if there's an energy weapon or something, that's going to be a visual effect because that'll be like an effect I throw on there. Color correction, lighting, all that stuff. So yeah.
Okay, but when you start a project, you following every time for every project just the storyboard, or sometimes during the shooting you have some inspiration and put something that wasn't scheduled before?
Yeah, always, and that's the fun part. It's like even if something's very strictly storyboarded and you think like how it's going to go, once you finally have those toys in the camera, like sometimes it doesn't look right and you have to improvise, or I try and think, and then if the team I'm collaborating with, all our best ideas are thrown in the mix, and sometimes when it's being animated and photographed, something else will just come up, just the way, you can't really explain it, serendipity. And so yeah, it's fun to find those moments. And yeah, and sometimes I don't know, things don't work at all. You have to scrap entire shots and just try something different. So yeah.
Okay, and speaking, for example, this one, but also the other that we saw before. Speaking of the background are real, or there is some virtual effect to create the background or the green screen? What is in general the situation for the background for your show?
For the Garbage Pail Kids video, the yellow sky, the orangish yellow sky you saw a lot was a visual effect. So all that was shot on green screen because we wanted to have a big, vast landscape of like destruction and dystopian, wasteland back there. But anytime you saw the ground, that rocky stone ground, that was the physical set part. And then for Ghostbusters, that I was able to use the really cool diorama set of the top of the building, like the skyscraper part, which if you're familiar with that toy line, it was like a build a set as part of the line. So it was a lot of fun to work on. And then anything beyond that was a visual effect. So yeah.
Okay.
So
you want to
set in front of green screen.
Okay. I believe that you prefer work with a real background, or prefer
yeah, it's always good to stay practical, and I'm a big fan of practical effects. CGI is great too, but nothing beats practical puppets and effects. It's just it's you're if you watch like Labyrinth or Muppets or anything like that, like they're puppets, but it's just something tangible. Like that even though it's a puppet, it's there. So I just
You are also a collector.
Oh yeah. Yeah. 90% of my collection's in boxes right now. I'm just waiting to get more space, but I've been collecting basically I'd say since I don't know, I was like 4 years old. Like I remember probably I don't know if it was my first toy, but one of the most memorable like first toys I got where I just really fell in love with like what they could do and how they looked and just the functionality of things was a real Ghostbusters toy when I was like 4 or 5 years old, and it was one of the fright features, ones where you like pressed a button and Peter's eyes popped out, and it came with like a cool translucent blue ghost, and just love the look of things like that. And I just never really stopped loving toys like Ninja Turtles and Marvel, and then I had a ton of Batman toys early on, like the Superpowers line, and I just loved going to flea markets and trying to look for anyone that was selling the old vintage Star Wars toys, and I had a big collection of those. And then I didn't really know what the toy collecting was such a big thing until like around the time that Marvel Legends came out, I think, because it was like when I first saw something like as detailed as the Marvel Legends, I wasn't too into toys. Like I'd see a toy that was pretty cool, and I wouldn't like go and hunt for things at that time. But when Marvel Legends came out, I saw like specifically like the Beast and Gambit figures, because I was such a huge X-Men fan all my life, and just seeing those like just blew my mind. Just the way the level of articulation and the soft goods code on Gambit, and just the paint was so much different from any other toy that I've seen at that time. Like it was just so highly detailed. But the articulation, I think, really honestly sparked the animation work that I did too. Since I at that time was just working with like Star Wars toys that had 5 points of articulation, and they would like go like this, and I'd have fun with that. But now I had a fully functional puppet that I could animate and have do a whole dance move, and I think I have it somewhere. I should have sent it to you. That would have been fun. I didn't think of it until now, but yeah, I have like an old animation I did with Beast and Gambit on like my college dorm desk. I brought all my toys with me to college, of course, and just had them like doing a breakdance battle. And I didn't realize it because I was having fun at the time, but it was like my part of my self-teaching of stop motion.
Cool. Speaking of the Ghostbusters toys, I believe that were the real Ghostbusters by Ken, the figures that you mentioned before.
Mm-hmm.
Are those one? The Ghostbusters toy that you said before. You talk about Ghostbusters toys, Peter and Beck. Was by Ken, that figures, I believe. The real Ghostbusters by Ken. Yes, because me too am a collector for this line. I made many reviews on this channel for these real Ghostbusters toys. And do you remember the other Ghostbusters? I'm talking about the Filmation Ghostbuster. It was a cartoon by Filmation that was aired in the same year of the real Ghostbuster cartoon, and also with something with Tracy the Gorilla. Do you remember?
I do remember, but I don't think I was aware of it at the same time that I was aware of like real Ghostbusters. That was something like later that like way later, probably mid 90s, or I saw it in a magazine like, hey, remember this Ghostbusters? And I was like, I'd never heard of that, but I am aware of them. But I don't think I discovered them until much later.
Okay. Yes, maybe I discovered before this one the filmation Ghostbusters and the Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters. When I was a kid, I believe in the 80s, middle of the 80s, in Italy was shared this start this show with the filmation Ghostbusters, and I
Mhm.
discovered the Ghostbusters this because before the movie, and
Right.
later, some point, and sometimes during maybe after 10 months, the broadcast government the network stopped the Filmation Ghostbuster and put instead of Filmation Ghostbuster the real Ghostbuster cartoon. In the beginning, I was shocked because to me my Ghostbuster were the Ghostbuster with the gorilla, with Primeval, with this stuff with Jack Kong and the dispenser, this stuff. Later, I became a fan also of this new real Ghostbuster. And in those years, in that years, well, I believe it was 1989,
Mhm.
I go to watch the Ghostbuster 2, and on TV I saw the first one, and become a fan also this one. But my first Ghostbusters is weird, I know that was the filmation Ghostbusters.
That's
My first
great.
passion for Ghostbusters, and later I become a fan of also the other one because the movie is awesome. Everyone knows that.
Right.
So sometimes it's something weird. Okay, I want to share with you another of your stop motion. I choose this one with the Marvel superheroes. I believe I need to a bigger screen. I hope that my internet connection work well.
Welcome back for day 2 of Doc
I need to
Samson's.
stop in a few moments because it looks like a Jurassic internet connection. And many people have some problem. And in Italy now is 3 a.m. 41. Therefore,
Is it?
there's not many people. Yes, because I'm a guy that I live in the night in general. Also for my
Okay.
YouTube channel. Yes, because both my YouTube channels are. This one is a channel of toys, and the other one is a channel of wrestling. However, the followers of my channel are from US in general.
Mm.
Therefore, I made my show in the nights. And also as a writer, I work in the. I like the night in general. I sleep in the morning, and my day job as an artist start in general at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
and
Right.
continues. It continues until I go to sleep in general at 7 a.m. This is my life. But I have the same connection of the Eastern time because I have every day I have a dinner at about 1 a.m. It looks like 7 Eastern p.m. Therefore,
Oh,
I'm this connection.
yeah, that works out.
Okay, I believe that it's possible to see now the
Mhm.
video. Yes. Okay, we start with this one now.
Welcome back for day 2 of Doc Samson's superheroes costume branding. And today we're going to focus on, drum roll,
Mr. Sampson, phrases is actually spelled with a PH.
of course. Of course it is. How about that? A volunteer. Hit us with the catchphrase, double dubs.
Okay. Ready? I
Pose.
wonder what that man will do next.
All right. I see what you're going for. Let's lose the question and give it another go.
Got it. Okay. I'm a wonderful man.
Get away from the name thing. New direction.
Wonder man. Man Wonder. I'm so sorry.
Let's put a pin in that and circle back. Spider-Man?
Ham.
Okay.
My
Pose.
my spider ham sense is tingling.
That's taken.
It's clobbering time.
Taken.
Flame on.
Taken.
Ham smash.
Nope.
Don't have a cow, man.
Nope.
Nanu.
Nope.
Hey. Got any cheese?
Anyone else care to take a stab?
You bet I do! Where's my spotlight? 'Cause it's showtime!
That's perfect for Wonder Man.
I'm the duck.
Oh, he's an actor on the side. You know, Showtime actor. Well, it just makes more sense.
I get it. I'm not some dumb animal.
Oh, dibs on that.
Nice one, Ham.
What? You're really getting my feathers ruffled.
Fine, I called it. Let's focus on what makes you unique. You know, you're small, you're ugly.
Who are you calling small and ugly?
I'm sorry. Since you seem to be struggling, here's a coupon for a free class with a catchphrase expert.
Thanks, Toots. No cash value. Why, it. You're giving me nothing here, pal. You're killing me. I'm giving you one last chance or I'm hitting the streets.
I am Groot.
Doc.
You're
Cool. Also, this one. Tell me the story behind the scene. How start this video?
This one specifically, one of my favorite ones. I just like the small scale of like the set, just one single room. A lot of funny dialogue between a lot of different Marvel characters. Written by Tom Pogan, Matt Davidson. Matt being one of my co-founders at Jamroll Studios, my production company, doing his favorite character, Wonder Man. So I'm sure that's fun for him. I love the facial expressions that I was able to match with his voice for Wonder Man. And also the Howard the Duck mouth was a lot more improved for this one. But the production of it, it was one of many episodes that we put together, Team What The at Marvel.com. Big group of people, Ben Morrison, produced by John Sorelli, and ton of people. Todd Casey was one of our writers, did a voice. He was Doc Samson here, and Jesse Falcon, who I think a lot of toy people would know his name, as involved as he was with the Marvel Legends line, but also incredibly talented person, did most of the voices for What The. So this was one of the episodes that production-wise it started. We put out pretty much an episode per month for a number of years, and so that it was kind of, the production was first week brainstorming, writing it, and starting to get some storyboards going. Into week two, I would start to build the set, get all the characters together that we would need, while also editing together the animatic while we got the voices recorded, put everything together, send that back and forth to Ben at Marvel and get everything approved, and then started to animate. At that time, I animated in so many different locations over the years. I'm not sure. I think I've animated on like kitchen tables, sometimes just being in between moves, like in basements, and when I was actually at Marvel, a lot of it was done just on my office desk, and photograph it there. So I don't remember where I was at actually at that time, but I'm proud of the set, the way it turned out. I think at that point, I was really starting to get more of a sense of like depth of field and camera work, which I kind of studied a little bit, but I didn't really know the real high tech stuff about lighting and depth of field and how a camera works until not too long ago. So you see a lot of that one, and that one specifically, that I try to do some rack focuses, which didn't always turn out right. And also the Spider-Ham figure, there wasn't an existing Spider-Ham figure at that time. There is now. So I had to customize that one out of like clay, and I painted it, which it looks okay. It's not too great, but and I put the sculpted head onto like a superhero squad kind of kitty version of Spider-Man for his body. But But overall, it still makes me laugh at the episode, and it was so much fun animating Groot at the end from the Guardians movie. So.
The set, the background, the set was real for this one, I believe.
Yeah, the only, looking back, watching it again, the only visual effect other than the facial expressions was that that dolly in when Howard says his big line, which if I had the time, it must have been a time-saving thing, but that's actually just him on the chair shot on green screen. And then in my visual effects program, After Effects, I put a 3D background, like still photograph of the set behind him, added a digital camera just to punch in. So it looks like fake 3D watching that shot. But if I was to do that now, I would love to do a practical camera shot where I'm actually frame by frame moving the camera, which I do a lot with my Mezco work now, and with the jam roll stuff too. Yeah, I'm getting I try to get better with every project I do. I try to improve upon stuff I've done before, and if it's something new, I try and do as much research as I can, and like with not just the animation, but the behind the scenes technical stuff like camera moves, yeah, all that fun stuff.
How big was the set for this stop motion?
Well, judging by the size of the characters, they're like 6-inch scale, or like what 10 characters in there. Probably like the table I was working on was probably like a standard desk size, maybe like 6 feet by 3 feet, maybe 4 by 2. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not good at size. I would guess the normal desk size. Yeah.
Okay. And after a show like this one, when everything is done, you save the set for you. What is the destiny of the set of a stop motion?
That's a good question. I like to save as much stuff as possible, just because for the tiniest chance of having to use it again, I don't want to have to build it all over again. The only times I like get rid of sets is if it's been like 8 years and I've never touched it or looked at it again. I'm like, I probably could toss this, or if it's something that I wasn't too, I thought it could be improved upon that way. But yeah, I've got so many, like I got moon sets, I've got like a cool rock stage stuff, and that's becoming my favorite part of the job now, is building dioramas and sets and just very detailed practical things for the work. I've become a member of a lot of like dio structure groups on Facebook, which are just phenomenal work being done in like the 1/12 scale. So I get a lot of inspiration from there, and like for the Nosferatu video specifically, all that stuff was, except for the shot where he's crawling up the castle, the big exterior shots. If anyone's familiar, or if you didn't see it, there's a video Nosferatu on Mezco Toys' YouTube page. So I build like the doorway, like the stone archway that he's standing in one shot, and then the floor of like his crypt, and I carved out the stairs out of this foam, working a lot in foam, which is an idea I got from the dio structure group. So thanks, and it's been working out really cool. And then I made this cool like throne for the Baron Ben's character. Another Mezco video that was kind of inspired by Kirby, like his Fourth World chairs, that like these techno chairs that the characters would have, like a lot of interesting design work on the chair. So yeah, it's I have a garage full of stuff that
Very cool.
Yeah.
Now you want to show in the other one now The other that you said me about Mezco Rumble Society. Now
Mm,
I find it. I hope also that my Jurassic connection work.
that's okay.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. And for this one, for example, that I saw many the scene by underwater. What is the way to give the feelings that everything happened under the water?
That's a good question. That was a very visual effects heavy um, project. Yeah, it was to make the water effect. I think the most time I spent on that project was just having my computer render out the effects because there was just so much going on and so many different layers of things. I guess I'll just take an example of, let's say the first shot you see Baron from the top down. So his area, you can see him sitting on his throne, and he's sitting on that cool like coral reef kind of thing, which was a previously existing set that was used in Toy Fair, I believe, reveal created by Crashbox Customs. So I was able to use that. So that was practical, and that was just photographed on a bed of a set that I have that's just like rocks and like stones. So that was the base level. And then to make it seem like there were like lights flickering on that, there was a layer of like fractal noise with the kind of shapes of like water waves being applied onto that layer. And then there's every time you see a piece moving, like seaweed, that was a separate thing, like a single piece of seaweed, which I'd add like a wiggle to, so it looked like that was swaying in the water. Anytime you see bubbles, that had to be a separate like particle emitter in After Effects, or okay, I want this at this point to be this size and have the shape of a bubble, and it has, you can put, it's just insane how many gravity effects you can say, like, okay, there's no gravity on this particle, so the bubbles go up like this. I can give it a little turbulence, and it's just so much going on in a single shot like that. And then if there's any fish going around, that would have been on green screen. I think there's a shark at the bottom there moving around. And then that fractal noise, the light glittering off would have to be applied to that too. And then overall, how they did this in like any I'm just thinking like Scooby-Doo, they do it a lot. If anything was underwater, there'd be like a filter of it was like wiggling a little bit, a little blurry. So I have that effect over everything altogether. And then of course, like a little bit of color correction, like make it a little bit bluer, stuff like that. So it's dozens of effects all playing off each other at once.
Okay, there is some question for the fan. Do you want to answer this question?
Sure. Yeah.
The first one is by Damian Ristori. Your classic Morbius looks amazing, Alex. Can I ask you what more villains are on your list of fools? I love Shocker, Whirlwind, the leader Hammerhead, of course, in the lineup.
Cool. Are they probably mean Mezco figures, because I know Mezco just the Morbius was just announced by them, which is really cool. Unfortunately, I'm not really part of that department. Although as a fan, like I don't have any inside information, but like as a fan, like yeah, all those suggestions would be awesome. I'm primarily a like overall Marvel fan. Like Batman's my number one, just because he's Batman. But I just love the Marvel villains, and I think Mezco has been doing an awesome job with everything. Like just today, they announced like a new Wolverine, which looks amazing. So as a fan, I'm just like just excited too.
Yes, they cover many different lines, and it's cool.
Yeah.
There is another question for the same guys. Is there any chance of seeing more ghost figures for Ghostbusters line? We still need Vigo Demon Head or real Ghostbusters villains.
They asking about the Diamond Select line, possibly. I'm gonna assume they are. That would have been a good question for Zach when he was on before.
Yes.
But again, like I don't know if you can see on the top of my shelf, I have the real Ghostbusters line that Diamond selected. That's my like kind of inspiration shelf up there, like my all-time favorite coolest toys that I have. Yeah, like Diamond selected some real Ghostbusters villains like the Sandman or the Boogeyman or Salwayne, or like, oh man, that'd be cool. I not working for them. I don't have an answer, Damien. Sorry, but that would be cool.
What is your favorite, the favorite stop motion that you ever made in your career? Your favorite of yours?
Oh, that's a good question. Though I don't know, the one that pops in my mind is the first Gomez video, the Agent Gomez one I did, just because it was just so much more ambitious than really anything I've done before, and I was really proud of how it came out, and it kicked off my relationship with Mezco. So that's probably way up there. I don't know. I love everything I do. I'm like, it's a line of work that I'm very lucky to work in, and every project I have fun with. It's it's hard to say. There's things that I love about every project. There's things that are kind of frustrating. The things that come up just production wise, and toys falling down is always, if there are any toy photographers out there, trying to pose a figure is just so painstaking sometimes. And so I have to pose them 24 times per second and make it look perfect. So it's sometimes grueling, but at the end of the day, it's like I get to play with toys professionally and work on animation, and with I'm honestly doing some of the best work of my life, I think, with Mezco, and I get to work with my best friends at Jamroll, and work with new and exciting clients there too, and it's a good time. Mm-hmm.
There is another question.
Okay.
Will you do Kingdom Come Superman? Do you feel the S logo on Superman 78 too low? It might seem too low.
That sounds like a Mezco question. Yeah. I can't comment on that, but my Kingdom Come Superman story is that back when I used to make custom toys just as a hobby, I tried to put one on eBay and it got taken down. I guess like there's a Kingdom Come specific Superman rule, or like it's like a different licensing than regular Superman, because there are Superman customs on eBay. Has any other customizers run into this issue? I don't know. But yeah, sorry, I don't have an answer for that one, but it just reminded me of that.
Okay, now I have a consideration that I share with every guest on my show. I want to share this consideration also for you to know what is your opinion about that. Now we live in a weird moment of our life. Everybody knows that. But I think because of that, now it's more important than ever the role of an artist, like you, like a writer, like me, or like also to collecting toys, creating toys, the creating for every type of art, because I believe that the art, collecting toys, also create a stop motion video because there is something magic behind the stop motion. It's like to create something. It's like a magic because you animated something that is not animated, but it looks like to give the soul to the figures, because the figures, if you watch a figure, you watch many things inside a figure. You watch his character, you imagine some story, and the stop motion looks like to create your personal own story with this character that you love. It looks like to create a new world. A new world. There is the new world, and there is another world you can create with your stop motion. And I believe that this is an awesome therapy today. Go in another world with the fantasy, with this creator, this character, because when you watch a stop motion or when you read a book, you forget everything and you go in another world. For example, when I write my novel, uh, I schedule nothing. I listen my music like a soundtrack, and I follow in the river of inspiration and create my story. And it's another world. And when I go in the other world, or when someone read my book, go in another world. And the same things when someone watch your stop motion. For example, I told you that before. I watched last night, I believe, or a few nights ago, many times your stop motion with Transformers.
Oh,
And
thanks.
what's so cool, and when I watch this one, for example, I laughing. It's like a good therapy also, the art, because because it looks like to a travel in a magic world, and also a big help today to stay happy. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that's a fantastic question. I definitely think, well, you're in terms of how much the world's changed in the last year. I think, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, but I think a lot of people either embraced some form of art, whether a show on Netflix that they like just fell in love with, or they started doing some kind of hobby that they've always wanted to do themselves, and that kept them going a little bit. It's just if it's for example, like I mean, my family, we took the pandemic very seriously, and we still are. But we have memories of we just all fell in love with this the 2012 era Ninja Turtle toy that we watched on Hulu, and it was just something like a show that you know it means the same to a lot of people that watched it when it came out, and just like if it happened any other time, I don't think it would have had the impact that when we all just got together as a family and watched it and talked about it, and it inspired us and it made us laugh, and it was just something, just one little thing, but something that was created by a team of artists and writers, and if they didn't do that, we wouldn't have had that memory and that piece of time together. That's such a small story in the scope of everyone's lives and whatever they might have found art wise to not keep them going, but just inspire them, or just have some kind of a positive piece of positivity. So yeah, it's I remember this thing going around on social media. It was like a list of essential positions, and like artist was the very least. It was like 1% of people thought that artist was an essential position. I'm absolutely not downplaying healthcare workers or anything like that. The people that really are out there and putting themselves in danger, but an artist needed to first come up with that graphic. An artist is doing everything that you're seeing on any ads or anything that you enjoy, artist did. So it's essential in that respect.
Cool. There is other question and comments. Jordan Emil says, if there was a Spider-Man figure that came with a skateboard, would you like to animate it?
I'm trying to think if a Spider-Man toy did come with a skateboard ever, and I don't know if it did. So I would say yes. So many ideas are popping into my head of what Spider-Man could do with a skateboard right now. So I think you're onto something there.
There is also comments for the interview. Thank you, Daikan Melon, for your appreciation.
Thank you. Thanks for watching.
How many times do you have again? If you need to go, give me some signs.
I'm good to go. I'm a little bit past my bedtime, but it's got to be 4 a.m. for you. So it's like
for me, it's
if you have
not
more questions, keep them coming.
For me, it's not a problem because looks like a Dracula because you live in the night. Therefore, I choose me this time also because it's good for US follower and also to me because in general.
Yeah.
Maybe if you agree, I want to search your Transformers.
Oh yeah, sure.
Because I like it. I search now on YouTube because it's so cool. Because I last night I find it because it's so. If guys that you watch right now, if some of you is a Transport fan, don't miss this one because it's so funny. There's a lot of fun for this one. I hope that my Jurassic connection worked very well because it's cool. Okay, yes, there is. There we go.
Listen here, Megatron. Prepare to meet your end at the hands of Optimus.
Look at me, Optimus. I'm helping.
Hot Rod, no! Get out of the way!
I'm helping.
Behold, as I scar a generation of children. Hot Rod, you fuck up. I pass the matrix of leadership to Ultra Magnus.
Oh, come on! After all my help!
It is with great sadness and reluctance that I accept this responsibility. Party at my place in 20 minutes. Let us leave now to mourn and make a beer run. Oh, Ultra Magnus. What? Rouse the Autobots. I've made a miraculous recovery. Just give me back the Matrix, and I'll, Ultra Magnus. More than meets the eye. Do-do-do.
It's so fun. It's so a lot of fun, especially I like the moment when Ultra Magnus singing the theme of the Transformers after what he did.
Yeah, the strength of that that was a very early animation I did when I was with Wizard and Toy Fair. Yeah, the strength of that is definitely in the writing. Justin and Zach and John, the Toy Fair guys, so perfect, and the voices too. I remember Justin Acklin doing the voice of Optimus Prime. I recorded him. He was in another office and he called the phone in my office, and I put him on speakerphone with the microphone ready to record, just to have that like metallic robotic voice. It worked perfectly. I don't think I put like a filter on that in post. That was actually how it sounded when I recorded it. So that was pretty fun.
Very fun, yes. There is another question. Is Mezco going to TNT? What other properties do you think you would be fun for the 1/12 scale? I'm looking forward for the Franzetta figures, maybe the old movie.
Not sure what Mezco is planning for TMNT, but I am a huge turtle fan too. I would love to see that in something that they did in 1/12 scale. I have no idea if that's part of the plan yet. Yeah, I can't really say with any kind of authority what what they're doing, but again, I can speak as a fan because I do, not just working with the figures. I really appreciate the products that they put out. To see as a 1/12, like a different property, maybe. That's hard to say. There's so many, not just Mezco, but just other like Super 7 and NECA come to mind. There's just like so many properties getting toys. Which is great for toy fans. But like, yeah, what's left? I don't know. Oh, you know what? I'd love Trouble in Little China figures, like Jack Burton in a 1/12 scale, which I don't think has ever been done. And then I know they've made a few Jareth the Goblin King, David Bowie figures. I think McFarlane and NECA both did that, but some proper 6-inch scale like Labyrinth figures would be awesome. Like Ludo, some of the other puppets from that movie, another one of my most favorite movies. That would be cool.
Okay, you worked also in the past. I don't know. It's just a question because I don't know. You worked also with the Robo Kitchen.
No, not really. No, not. So it's not me. Like really collaborating with them on anything or being connected with them personally in any way. Like working with Toy Fair, I know what from your Zach Ode interview a few weeks back, he kind of talked about the origin of Robot Chicken, and it kind of came out of the work that was being done at Toy Fair magazine with their action figure like Fumetti comic strip that they did, Twisted Mego Theater, and later Twisted Toy Fair Theater. Seth Green got involved with some of the other Toy Fair employees to create these stop motion shorts, and eventually evolved into the Robot Chicken pitch at Cartoon Network. So that was like a few years before my time of getting.
Zach told me something about that during the interview. About that, he talks about that a little bit. You worked also with the Harley Davidson brand also.
Which brand? Sorry.
Harley Davidson, the moto.
Oh, yeah, that was in relationship with one of the Marvel videos I did. So that was technically a Marvel video, but we did some sponsored videos with other companies. So I got to do animate a really cool kind of half comedy skit, half advertisement with Harley Davidson motorcycle. They were putting out a motorcycle in kind of in line with the first Captain America movie that came out. So I got to do animate a really cool scene where Captain America jumps into Red Skull's lair and tries to save Bucky riding on a miniature Harley Davidson motorcycle, which they sent me. It was I don't know if it was 1/18th scale, but it was definitely smaller than 6-inch scale. So I just remember a headache trying to match up the 6-inch figure that I was using onto the smaller scale. Was a lot of visual effects. But that was my relationship with Harley Davidson. And I was involved not as much as some other people on the Marvel What The team. But I was, talking with the representatives from Harley Davidson and coming up with concepts and seeing what could be done in animation, what couldn't be. And so, yep, that was
Okay,
that was my
and,
Harley Davidson connection.
cool. And speaking of the size of the figure for a stop motion, what is, in your opinion, the perfect size to work very well?
For animation,
Yes.
for me, I've always kind of worked in 6-inch scale, like 1/12 scale. I know a lot of like the Leica, like Paranorman and Missing Link and those big feature length stop motion movies. The puppets are sometimes they're as big as 2 feet. And I have no experience in working like that kind of scale, but I can see that the detail would be so much different. I working in 1/12 scale is like what I'm comfortable with. I've always just worked in that, so that's my preference. I know how figures that size move. I know how they relate to the camera, like how their size, how far they need to be away from the lens and things like that. So that's my preference. That's just what I'm used to. Not to say I wouldn't like to experiment with like larger figures, but just never had the opportunity. And I definitely haven't worked with anything smaller than 1/12 scale that I can remember. Oh no, I actually totally not true. I worked a lot with the mini mates with Zach at Diamond Select. So they're 2-inch tall figures. The Diamond Select mini mates, the Back to the Future and the Max figures that Zach talked about during his interview. And Calico Jack was like a pirate thing. So same kind of production, smaller scale, a little harder sometimes, but not a little harder.
Yes, I imagine that maybe a small figure is harder than a bigger figure, 6 inches, because with a small figure, also manipulate a small figure is a little bit complicated, I believe. Yes.
Yeah. It will working a smaller scale is harder, just because it's the camera picks up every little motion that you make. It's just like it's so close to the figure. You can there's only so much it can move. It's you have to be much more precise to get some realistic motions with on a smaller scale. But then also bigger scale, it's can be more difficult because just of all the moving parts going on at once. Like working with a fully articulated 6-inch figure is understandably more difficult than like let's say a mini mate with just the way the articulation is. And even in 6-inch scale, like the heavier figures, like if I animate like a Hulk or like a character with like a lot of heft to it, like it's a lot harder to keep if it's jumping or doing anything that requires a rig. It's like so much more difficult to have it stay in place when just the weight of it is going against that. So there's little challenges, little things that are easier, things that are harder, any scale.
Yes, I imagine that, and especially also because it's a small. Also, you need. Looks like to work with. I don't know if the words in English is the same. Microscope. I don't know. The scientists use something to watch the microorganism.
Oh yeah, microscope. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Microscope.
Yeah, I have a. One of my lenses is a macro lens, which it can take a photograph of something like right in front of the lens and have it be in focus, which is amazing to me. But you also like it does kind of work like a microscope where if there's like a bit of dust a dust speck that flies in front of the camera and you're taking a photograph at a high shutter speed and it picks that up, it's like you got to worry about every little thing. You're that close.
And every day, how many hours you work on a stop motion during for the shooting?
Well, my full-time day job is with Mezco, so I'm there, 9 to 5. That's my bulk of the production day. And then through Jamroll Studios, just the way the pandemic's been this last year, especially, we're not, my partners and I and anyone that we would have collaborated with are obviously not meeting up in person, which is like we used to do, like on weekends, and get together and work on our freelance projects through Jamroll, such as Garbage Pail Kids and our other projects there. So since becoming a dad and we have 2 small children, takes a bit of time away from animating too. So it's at this point, with everything that's been going on with the pandemic and I'm very lucky to have the work. But it's hard to put an hour number on it. It's whenever I can get to anything.
But also, I think you're lucky also because you have a job that you love, because it's your heart also.
Yeah.
Every artist then can work with his art is lucky man, because you do the best thing that you can do in your life. It's awesome, I believe.
Yeah, I truly believe that. Yeah, no joke. It's Mezco and everything is a dream job. I can't describe it any other way.
Yes, it's cool. I understand it, because also to me, every day I wake up, I do just only the things that I love, and this is the better way to live, in my opinion.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I agree.
Do you remember your first ever stop motion that you did?
I don't specifically remember the very first time I was like experimenting with my parents' camera. The one thing I was able to save, looking back on actual like tapes that survived, and I would also just like with my parents' camera tape movies and then tape over them. I had like one tape, and I'm the end of the tape. Okay, rewind and just keep going. So much stuff was lost, obviously. There's one piece that's on my YouTube page, the page that's just my name as myself, called my first stop motion, which is just the first one.
I saw that.
So that's not really the first technically one, but it's the oldest one I actually have saved. And I remember being, in my mom's craft room. My mom was in crafts for, her whole life, and collected so many different, clays and stamps and all kinds of things for a kid to play around with, which was fun. So this was me just grabbing things that were around and making a movie about. I pressed some polymer clay into like a face, mold, and created a little, eyes with bobby pins, and made just didn't really have a plan, didn't storyboard that one, just went into it and just saw what I could do with the clay. So that was fun.
And what is your feelings when you watch stuff like that? When with your beginnings, what is your feelings?
With my work or other animation?
No. When you watch for example, this one that you told on your channel, now you are a professional animator.
Yeah.
And you know every secret, everything about that. But when you watched your first in the beginning, your work of the beginning, what is your feelings in that when you watch it?
For the most part, I like it, my early like professional work. I'm kind of like, that doesn't look good. I really could have improved upon that. Not the, that's where I was at the time, and that's fine. The goal is to always, try and get better and improve, and however long it takes you, is you're always going to hopefully look back and with fondness, and that was good for the, I can do good now. But some work that don't feel so much like that. There was just like that's where I was at the time. It would be based on like the schedules, and if I had to like rush to meet a deadline or something, and things don't look right because I was rushing. That's kind of like, I feel like I could have, if I just had like another week, that would have been a lot better. But it's out there now, and people still like it. So, and I'm my own worst critic. Like I very rarely do I create something that I think is perfect and that I couldn't possibly improve upon. Like I think like just off the top of my head, like the Nosferatu video I did for Mezco, I can't think of a way. I'm so happy with how that turned out. I really couldn't think of a way to improve upon that. But yeah, I just can't help thinking like, this is okay. I wish I could just do this one thing better.
Yes, because for example, when I watch the stop motion I did on this channel, because I have three series. One is the WWF Hasbro, because with my friends I create the custom figure of some character that never was before, like King Kong Bundy, Hasbro figure, like that. I create my own roster of my federation of action figures.
Awesome.
And I write also the storyline for the match, for the title match and everything, and for the promo situation. And every week there is a show, like an old school show of the 80s of WWF.
Cool.
And every time they create my stop motion, I have a big criticism with myself. I think, yes, it's good, but something is a little bit wrong. And I show my video with my friends, with people that know nothing about that, because I believe that the reaction of the normal people is a good feedback to understand if the video that I made is good or not. Because and I remember in the beginning, the first episode maybe, because last summer the Food Fighter stop motion that I made, it was the first stop motion a little bit better than the old one. The old one looks like not just a slideshow, but with few frames. And with the Food Fighter, I try to get something better, because some people, some friends, or my girlfriend, not so much, but some friends of my girlfriend say, yes, but it's too slow, it's too slow. This criticism by outside people give me some input to create something better. However, now every time that I watch it, I think, yes, it's nice, but could be better. Okay, this is my question is for that. Therefore, to me, it's important when I give you my submotion. Your reaction is important, because I consider you a master for that. Yes, promotion is just a part of the content of this channel, because in this channel I made interviews, I made toy news, I made review and unboxing, but also I start some stop motion project, and I try to make a decent stop motion, because I know that however, I have a big criticism before I made this question for you about your first work, because now, in my opinion, your stop motion today, your animation work are perfect. It looks like to see a movie.
Wow,
are awesome.
That means a lot. Thank you. Yeah, I did see your Food Fighters animation. I was impressed with so many characters that you were animating at once, which is always a struggle for me. And like just animating one character, you had like 6 figures, or maybe even more than that. That was very well done. I wanted to ask you, so you said there was a previous one that you did. Like when did you start trying to do more, like a lot of animation stuff? Like,
no, I started with I started some years ago, but I prefer to share this one because I'm so old. But I started to do my first stop motion with some good rules was that one. With the first with a good way with the stop motion is the stop motion with Food Fighters. I start to create something a little bit better, a little bit, not perfect, but with something better. This one was the first with the Food Fighters that I made. That I started to use an app to shooting everything.
Gotcha.
Maybe the real first one stop motion was the Food Fighters one. because the previous of that of WWF Hasbro was like just a slideshow with many pics, not like that. Therefore, this one was the first one.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
was
Well,
difficult in the post production where they try to make the visual effect of the
gun.
fire of the gun. Was difficult because I searched on the web some little white. I don't know what is the name. The shot, not the shot.
The muzzle
And,
flash.
and with the during the editing after the when I shooting everything during my editing video program, I put with the mouse every little shot near the gun.
I noticed.
A big challenge for my first ever stop motion with the better rules. It was a big challenge there.
Yeah, it was well done. I noticed.
Thank you. And also my mission, because it was the first episode that I decided to create not just a stop motion show, but a mashup between stop motion for the figures with people of real life to create some feelings of like Roger Rabbit, for example. No? And therefore, so I put my girlfriend as a protagonist for that show, and I chose this idea to use the stop motion for the Food Fighters. It was the first time I have a project to make other one, but I a little bit scared for the problem with the guns, the shooting, because it was the most difficult part to do this video, because for every shooting, for every gun, you need to put the white effect with the mouse. Was so hard.
I know, it's painstaking, right?
Yes, it was my first one. For example, when I made my WWF ads, it was a little bit easier because it's just they in general, I haven't the visual effect. Therefore, I need to create everything during the shooting in general. And so I put a wrestling match. You need just to make a fight between the figures. It's not like the Food Fighters, the shooting with the guns like that. And now I start also the Master of the Universe, 2 episodes now.
Right.
And for example, for that, like when I goes to my novel, I schedule nothing. I have just the idea.
Okay.
And during the moment when they shooting, I decide everything that maybe the storyboard is in my mind. I decide this scene, this one, and this one. And I try to, because the patience part is a big important part of the work in this video, and I try to force me to put more frame, for the action, and because sometimes when I shooting, because in some review, for example, I made something that I call a story time. And the story time, I play with my toys. I make the toys for every toys. I create the story just like that, just for fun, for the review, for the masters, for every franchise. And I start before the stop motion, and I have this set in my mind to create a story like that. Don't stop. It says to me, this is stop motion. You need to create it just with the photo. Therefore, I try to force myself maybe to put more frame, more position, because, for example, the Master of the Universe figures have more joints than the Hasbro. The Hasbro have a two movement. And therefore, I try to put... and every time that I saw the first episode, I saw maybe the problem that I made. And if maybe next time I could be better to do that again. I don't shooting for maybe for the last one that I give you, I send you, I shooting maybe 90 minutes, something like that, not so much.
Yeah. If you can't improve unless you just dive in there and start from somewhere, And yeah, storyboarding. I mean, it's standard for like TV shows, and if there's a team of people, it's just to make sure everyone's on the same page. But it's not necessary for anyone. Werner Herzog, didn't he say storyboarding's for cowards? Because you just get a camera and go out there and just it'll come to you and do if you got an eye for it, it'll do the right thing once you're in the moment. So, or just already have the idea in your head. Yeah.
Yes. No, I use the storyboard just as a director because I made also some short movie in Italy. And for that, in general, because I'm also composer, I compose before the music for the short movie, and later with the music, I made my storyboard for the short movie. And later, as a director, I shoot in the movie. But was not difficult to create stop motion because in the stop motion you are the director, you move the actors, everything depends on you. Therefore, it's not easy.
Right, that's right.
But it's cool. It's already cool because when yes, my stop motion, I know that they are a little bit naive. However, when I saw the figure that move, is a good feelings because you feels like to animate a little bit because you see the figure that move.
For sure, yeah. See what the possibilities and whatever inspires you. Yeah.
Yes, it's cool to see the one figure. For example, I remember the first stop motion that they did with some better rules, the Foot Fighters. When I saw that, I looked many people. For example, I showed that to my mother. I showed it to my girlfriend. Everybody says during the shooting, because I shoot in the first scene. I showed that to my mother. Wow, it's cool. I showed to my girlfriend. It's cool. And me, I watch it. Yes, it's good, but not cool. And maybe it's because I don't know. Maybe I a bit criticism to myself. And so yes, it's nice, not cool. Okay. But I was surprised the reaction for the people that maybe doesn't know what is a stop motion and says it's cool, your stop motion with the Foot Fighters. And to me, it's nice, but I saw many problems when I watched that. For example,
yeah, no, yeah, like I said earlier, like I really suggest constructive criticism, and just I show all my stuff, like even to my small kids. I'm like, how's this look? Notice any problems? Like I'll show it to anybody just to see whatever the other people think, because when you are like the director and the animator and you're in something for it's hard to like step back and look at it fresh. But yeah, there were multiple times in my career where I some stuff was, I studied, and some stuff was self-taught. And then every once in a while I'll discover something that I should have known this the whole time, like something very basic about animation, or like principles of animation, or, like, oh, I should have been using this program. Like, I didn't always edit in like a professional video editing suite. I would just use what I had. And so these like epiphanies every once in a while, and you never know when they're going to happen. It's like, oh yeah, you just have to keep working, and these things will come up where you're like, oh, okay, this is what I should be doing. And then you take that, move forward, improve upon that. And but you just got to keep going. Then you'll know to yourself what works, what doesn't work. You might see something you don't know why it doesn't work, but it'll just happen, spontaneously. Like, oh, okay, this is I love problem solving. I love that part of the job, like not knowing what's going to work, and trying different things, and if you're lucky, then you come out with the perfect solution. Yeah.
Yes. Also, this my I don't know what is the good things to explain that. However, for example, to me as a writer, I never study in the writer schools and stuff like that, because to me, for example, writing a story, the only way to understand, to learn how write a story is write, write, and you discover the good way for that.
Yeah.
And like for piano, I play piano. By I study by myself piano.
Oh yeah.
I guitar. My brother give me 2 lessons. Later, I continue by myself. Also, I try to violin because I play a little violin, but it's just because I like in my show as a singer, an actor. Because in the past I made many show concert, and I like with some big cape. I goes in the scene with the violin. I like this stuff a lot, and therefore I play. I study violin with some violinists, some girls that work with me. But it's the only things that I just study because to become a good violinist is too difficult. However, to play piano, to write story, and now to stop motion, I study nothing. I go in the work, and with the work, I try to become better. For example, work very well to write a song. I write many songs in Italy. I published just one because become a professional in the professional business. In the discography in Italy is so bad. If you are a type of music that are different with different target that don't following any type of music, you find just a closed door. I made many concerts. I work with big artists because the artist shows love for your art, but the producer, especially discography in Italy, are so bad. Therefore, I published just one song. I wrote many songs, and I learned by myself how to do a song or to create a song. The same things for a book. And now, yes, I know it's just one of the concepts they made on my channel, also for stop motion. But it's my way. What do you think about that? And what is your step before to become the master of stop motion that you are now? What is your step to learn that?
Well, I mean, that I'm sorry to hear that. That's so hard to break into that industry there. But I'm glad that we live in a time where technology and someone's own online persona can be put out there, if there are other options. Like, it'd be nice if it was going through the professional big studios or whatever, but I think if people are really passionate about their work and they put it out there and people feel the same way and they grow that way, it doesn't really matter what channel you use or what what method you do to get your art out there. If it resonates with people, it's going to get might take a long time, but it's going to get noticed. And but for me, I just worked on pretty much every project that came at me that I was able to do, and I did it to my best ability, and I was nice about it. Working with I love collaboration. I'm not trying to shut people down if they come up with ideas at the writing table or whatever, and I like working with people, so people hopefully like working with me, and they recommend me to other people that are working, looking for similar animation work, which is what happened with my work at Mezco. I got recommended by people that I worked with before that enjoyed my work and enjoyed working with me, and that's my philosophy, I guess. Just do the work you can, be nice. Don't I got on the flip side of that, don't overwork yourself or try to do so much that it burns you out and you take out your own energy. So there's a good keep a balance between healthy working and the passionate work, I guess.
Okay, if you need some music, I have a lot of music.
I'll give thank you.
I have another. You never made a video of a making of one of your stop motion animation, a making a backstage video for your.
Yeah, that's the thing. I wish I had. I wish I did that more. I've done some. There was one for my production company, Jamroll Studios. If you just look for that name on YouTube, there's a behind the scenes video. We did a spot for a brewing company here in the States, and called Southern Tier Brewing Company, and they have a mascot for their pumpkin beer, which is like a pumpkin king with a pumpkin head. And we created a puppet for that character, a physical puppet, and we were able to take some photographs during the making of the puppet. So we just put together a quick making of the puppet that we made, and I'd love to do more stuff like that. And I do when I have time. I obviously have a bunch of like in progress photos and some like how I did some visual effects stuff for my Mezco stuff, which when I get some spare time, I'm gonna put out on my Instagram page. But it's something that I kind of either forget to do, like take some behind the scenes footage of stuff, or I just don't have time to do, just because the deadline of things is so tight. There's really no time to also talk about what I'm doing and set up a GoPro and do a time lapse and set that up and also edit together and all this stuff. But I love seeing stuff like that.
Because it could be cool to see a documentary of your work. Should be cool, in my opinion, to see behind the scene, the step. Should be very cool. There is a comments for the interview. Beautiful interview. Thank you, Barbara. However, yes, it should be cool. So also when you built because earlier you told me that you built sometimes the background. Should be cool also see maybe to create a documentary from the beginning and to the final moment of with the highlights for this process. Cool.
Yeah, I'd love to do that. If people would be interested in that, yeah.
Because there is something magic. I also for just now, because I'm inspired for everything. I never made before a novel with a protagonist as a stop motion animator, for example. It could be an idea, because I'm so fascinated for this world, for that. Maybe it could be possible in the future.
Yeah,
In general, you maybe could be an inspiration for my future protagonist. In general, in my novel, many times something supernatural comes in the story.
Yeah.
I don't decide that, but happen. And if you imagine, just for fun, a story of a stop motion animator and artist and something supernatural in this stop motion creation, should be interesting.
I'd love to read a story like that. Yeah.
The problem that I write in Italian, because imagine that I learned English with wrestling. Wrestling was my school of English. I started because I think the only way to learn something is the passion. I have a big passion also for English, for wrestling. Also, I watch now. In these days, I watch a cartoon in English version for the 80s.
Yeah,
it's a good way to learn English with a passion. But however, I speak English. Maybe my English is not the best in the world, because in Italian, however, but as a writer, I haven't the English to write in English, novel for English. I need a translator because I write in Italian. He needs a translator to publish a book. But I think that, for example, I published 5 novels in Italy. And I think that many stories that created maybe should be better in the USA audience than Italy. Because in general, the people that comes in the story, because in my novel looks like every character has their personal life. I'm just a discover that find these guys in this other world. However, many people are with the English name because also writing is looks like a knowledge, a strange knowledge, because you can tell a story in a country that you never visit. It's possible because the imagination opens some door that you never believed. That, for example, in the past, I wrote a novel, and the story was in London. I never was in London before that novel, and when later I goes to London, I was surprised that I described some street that I never saw in real life very well. And this is the magic of the creativity. No?
Yeah. It's I mean, I I animate things on like fictional planets and places I've never been. So you have that fun with the imagination and but yeah.
There is another question, but maybe it's just not for I don't know. However, do you guys? I think the question is for Mexico in general. However, do you guys ship to Canada, and why is Rambo Society too hard to get?
I'm not sure about the shipping to Canada. That's that would be another department, unfortunately. But yeah, Rumble Society. I know the toy page, the Instagram account interviewed the president Mez a couple weeks ago, and they talked about that, like the exclusivity and the reason for the timed like pre-orders and stuff like that. And Mez had a really interesting response. I don't know if that's still available to watch, but I couldn't really describe it very well myself. But they're cool.
Okay, another question is how do you guys pick what character to make into a figure? Will there be a re-release of the Dark Knight Returns Batman?
Yeah, that's a question for someone else, unfortunately. Sorry.
Yes, guys, remember that the rules of Alex Kropinak is a media content producer for Mezco Toys. Just to explain the rules. Before he created animation video for Mezco produce.
So I'm technically in the art department, and so not really in production.
Yes. How many times do you have now, my friend?
Oh wow.
Maybe
now. Yeah. I should. I hear some feet running around. I should probably help put the kids to bed. But I can't. I can't believe it's been 2 hours. This is a pleasure talking with you.
Yes, maybe if you want to come back in the future, you're welcome.
Yeah. Oh, that would be great. I really appreciate it.
I will thank you so much, because we will do maybe next summer, I don't know when, another session, and every guest will come back in the show.
That'd be great. Yeah, and I'll keep up on your work too on your page, and good luck with the stop motion and future interviews. Looking forward to it.
Yes, for stop motion, I believe that you receive more from me, because just to understand what do you think.
Yeah, I'd be happy to.
You are a master for that.
Right.
I saw maybe there is this time for the last question.
Sure. Yeah.
My last question is because I saw the Christmas video by Mezco stop motion. I believe you are behind the scene of that also.
I did 2, kind of Christmas holiday videos for Mez. Yeah.
I remember when the video that I mean is the video with the Christmas tree. And the guys got electrified during the Christmas.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was the most recently. Yeah.
Yes. Tell me a little bit the story behind the scene of this one.
So that was the concept Mez, president of Mezco, came up with, and he's like primarily the writer and the conceptualizer for pretty much all the videos that we do. He comes up with the outline and the story, and we go from there. So that was something he thought up for a fun holiday video where the pink skulls were like decorating a tree, and Grub was there because everyone loves Grub. The baby, different version of Gomez. And at some point, some kind of mishap happens, and the pink skulls like light up like cartoon zappy and electricity, and then just message of happy holidays. And then we had that concept again, like most projects we do, storyboard it, lay down an audio track, and get all the props. I have a little miniature Christmas tree and the snow kind of flat snow set. I spent a bit more time doing there's a tiny little red sweater that was on the Grub, the tiny roach version of Gomez on there, which I like handmade from another miniature sweater from another toy. So that was a little hard to do because he's a very, very tiny toy.
Yes.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
I imagine that the small Gomez was difficult also to move little guys like that.
Yeah, he's not as articulated as the other, his 112 big brothers and sisters. Is got maybe his head moves on a little bit of a ball joint, and then the two legs swivel like that. So when he walks, he's kind of like moving, like just kind of twisting his legs and shuffling along, which is it's fun working with those limitations sometimes. I don't know if it's almost sometimes working with some toys with limited animation. It's like the South Park paper feet, just like that's the best you can do. It works sometimes.
Also, it's also because sometimes in the art in general, a limitation could be a new inspiration to do something different sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love those. You really never know, even if you're doing something very similar to something you did before, there's just always that unknown of, some little thing that some little problem solving you have to do.
Yes. And now I go to the piano, my friends, and when I go to the piano, it's time to say goodbye. Thanks for watching, my friends. And don't forget to watch on YouTube every stop motion created by Kropinak, my friends. Thanks you for watching. And so long, everybody. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel because you can find more interview. And also go to Instagram page from some highlights also for this interview, my friends. Thank you, Alex. Thank you so much. You are a real artist, an awesome artist. Thank you to share with us your passion, your work, your awesome and magic work, my friend. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.